Hi, my name is Elizabeth Soriano, and I will be going over the Canyon Creek Women's Crisis Center budget analysis. Canyon Creek has been serving the community since 1996, providing free, confidential help for survivors of domestic violence, rape, and sexual assault. They provide 24-hour crisis intervention, emergency shelter, and wraparound services to assist survivors in escaping abuse, breaking the cycle of violence, and supporting them through their healing journey. I currently work for Canyon Creek as a victim advocate. Being an employee has helped me better understand how crucial it is to meet the standards of our grants for the organization. Canyon Creek is a nonprofit organization. All of its funding comes from state and federal grants, fundraisers, generous donations from caring individuals and groups within the community. Canyon Creek receives 20 different grants for the 18 different expenses, which are then grouped into 8 budgets. The first being salaries and benefits. This budget is composed of 20 grants. The second, trainings, conferences, and traveling budget, which is composed of 7 grants. The third, utilities, space, and insurance budget, composed of 4 grants. The fourth includes communications, supplies, equipment repair, and maintenance. This is composed of 4 grants. The fifth budget, professional fees, is composed of 2 grants. The sixth, which I think is the most important budget, client cost, is made up of 2 grants. The seventh, staff wellness, is composed of 3 grants. And lastly, the eighth budget for fundraising is composed of 2 grants. The top 3 expenditures of Canyon Creek are the 3 highest budgets. The first one being the salaries and benefits, which is a total of $664,279. The second, the budget for utilities, space, and insurance, $54,791. And then the third, the trainings, conferences, and traveling budget of $43,306. One of the most important budgets within Canyon Creek is one of the smallest. The client budget is only $13,000. How is it possible that an organization whose sole purpose is to help clients has this lowest budget regarding its clients? As you can see, there is a pie chart that shows that the overall budget, the client cost is only 2% of that budget. Canyon Creek provides resources for individuals after leaving a domestic violence situation. Some of these resources might include food vouchers and assistance with child care costs to help job seekers be more employable. We provide them with interview clothing and or bus vouchers to get them to that interview. By improving the employability of a person who would otherwise be unqualified for that job or labor, nonprofits increase the quantity supplied in the labor market. Macroeconomics can be seen in connection to Canyon Creek through the maximum occupancy issues among shelters in Utah and the surrounding states. One of the biggest strengths of Canyon Creek is that it is a nonprofit organization, which means it's fully exempt from federal income taxes, state taxes, and sales and property taxes. This is a huge strength when it comes to buying weekly food for the shelter. Our emergency shelter can house up to 28 women, which means we need the funds to provide meals for those 28 women. Being tax exempt, it helps minimize the total purchasing food cost. One of the biggest weaknesses is the fact that all nonprofits in the state of Utah have to fight for their funding. Every organization has to fight over funding, apply for funding yearly, and hope that they can at least get the same amount. There is no guarantee that the organization will have significant funding the following year. The biggest flaw that the organization has is the client budget. The budget is only $13,000, which is extremely low given the kinds of resources these women request. Within the organization's policy, women can receive $60 worth of financial help because of the budget being so low. This makes it extremely hard to give the women the help that they need. For example, if a woman comes from out of state and needs to replace her driver's license, it costs $30. That's half of the amount they can receive, and yet somehow us advocates are supposed to help them get prescriptions filled, housing application fees covered, get social security cards, birth certificates, etc. The biggest flaw within this budget is the client cost. The entire organization is based on helping women create new lives, yet the numbers show differently. As you can see in the pie chart, it shows the overall budget and how much of it is used for client cost. Of the $892,618, only $13,000 goes to the client cost. That's a huge difference. Overall, this is what the budget tells me. Canyon Creek is a nonprofit organization trying to help women start a new life, a safe life. However, in order to do that, Canyon Creek needs a larger client budget. With the budget they have, they are bound to 3 options. The first being that they exceed their budget, which in turn leads to pulling from next year's budget, and this would cause the organization to start the following year with a deficit. Option 2, cutting costs in another area to increase client budget. This could mean cutting down the biggest budget, the salaries and benefits. This gives employees, in a way, a purpose to work for Canyon Creek. Working in this kind of field is mentally and emotionally hard. You hear and witness some horrible stories. By cutting the salaries and benefit budget, this could potentially cut the number of staff members, which makes a heavier workload for everyone else. The last option being Canyon Creek has already attempted option 1 and 2, which leads to turning away victims due to lack of financials. In order for Canyon Creek to meet the needs of every woman and child who come to them, their client cost budget needs to double in size at least. With the current budget, Canyon Creek has to choose what necessities clients need and what they can go without. Women fleeing domestic violence often come to us with nothing. The budget shows that Canyon Creek gets multiple grants for the salaries and benefits, but only has 3 for the client cost. Canyon Creek needs to focus on getting more grants and/or donations that go directly towards their client cost.